So today we're going to be talking about the consumer app and the consumer or in the websites, I believe. So right off the bat, is there anything that you guys would like me to cover specifically? Because there is a lot of content in all of these things. Is there anything particular you're looking for? Anything particular you guys would like me to cover? Okay. I guess I'll just play it by ear then. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Now, of the people who are currently on this call, is there anybody who's not at all familiar with Command, who hasn't really used it for anything or not for much?
I have only had my license 2 weeks, so I am fairly new to this.
Fair enough. All right. I just want to gauge the audience here because we want to make sure that I'm going at a slow enough pace for the beginners. But so we'll start from the beginning. Before you do anything really in Commands, one of the first things that you're going to want to make sure that you take care of is your marketing profile. All right, so we'll go over that real quick. If you guys have any questions, just jump in and interrupt me. Actually, okay, let me see. Okay, just making sure that the video is being recorded. Looks like it is. All right, so the marketing profile. At any point in time, you guys can jump in and stop me and say, hey, I don't get that, or can you explain that again? And I'd be happy to stop and we can go from there. So to get to your marketing profile, you'll click on your name in the top right here, and you'll click on settings. And then we'll click on connect settings and then marketing profile. Now the benefit of the marketing profile is it's going to store all this data for you, and this data can later be used in other parts and other aspects of Command. Okay, your websites, sometimes your designs, your campaigns, a lot of these things will pull that data from the marketing profile. So make sure that this is filled out as complete as possible. And one thing also to note on the website, when you publish your website, let's say your bio, for example, if you have a bio here and you publish your website, even if you update your bio later, I don't believe it's going to change on your website. On other aspects, it will change. If you create something new, it will be the updated one, but whatever's existing on the website, I don't believe it's going to change. So make sure that the bio that you want is there, and if you do want to update your site later, we'll talk about how you can do that. So yeah, logos, just one thing to remember about these images. They do have criteria, so make sure it's smaller than 1 megabyte. A lot of times it will say sizes, like here, recommended sizes 360 by 360 pixels. And you'll get this error message that says the size is too big, and so people just shrink it down thinking that will make the size smaller, but it's talking about, I guess, for lack of a better term, how heavy the picture is. If there's more pixels, if it's more dense, it doesn't matter how big visually the image is, it could be over 1 megabyte. I had a conversation with a person who was trying to send a slide deck through a Google group, and they could not understand why the previous week it worked fine, but all they did was update the pictures, and all of a sudden it didn't work. And well, I mean, one picture can be as big as you want it. I have pictures that are almost 8 megabytes themselves. So just make sure it's under that 1 megabyte, and it's always good to have a square image instead of a rectangular one. A lot of these images are done in portrait, so you want to just make sure that it's a square so it fits better in the circle. Same thing with your team logo. So one last thing, you want to make sure that this toggle is on. If this toggle isn't switched on, then this data is not going to pull over. This toggle basically gives your permission for Command to pull this information for different aspects of your sites or Command or whatever. So that's pretty much it in regards to sites and consumer at this point. Any questions so far? It's pretty straightforward for the most part. Very good. All right, you've got your marketing profile filled out. Now we're going to talk about websites here. So you're going to find all of your web stuff for the most part here in the consumer applet right down here in the bottom left-hand corner. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. All right, so before we get into this, I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about websites in general. You know, I studied web application development, so I know a little bit about it. I've built websites before, templated from scratch, a few different things. And so when I'm preparing agents for creating websites or for using command for their website in particular, a lot of times they have a lot of questions. What do they need on their website? Sometimes they just jump the gun and they go and they set up a website or pay a developer. I remember I talked to a woman who was a brand new agent, and she had paid a developer to design her website right off the bat. She was gung-ho, she was ready to go. Now I know more or less how much it costs if you pay a developer, and depending on how they do it, it can be very expensive. She ended up paying $1,800 for her website, which that's a lot of money. Now it's fair. That's, you know, if you have a nice robust website, $1,800, that's a reasonable price for a website, depending on the site. But the real question is does she need an $1,800 website as a brand new agent? And I would say probably not. There are some situations where an agent would need a very well put together, robust, functional website. And for the most part, that would be for agents who have specialized services that they provide, right? So for example, we have an agent in our market center who specializes in horse farms. That is his thing, and that is his bread and butter. Now, that's very unique. There are not a lot of real estate agents here in our area that's really only what they do. It's kind of a niche community and it's hard to get into. Would he need a website? That would probably be a good idea for him to have a good, well put together website. For a new agent starting out, you just need something basic. A couple of things that I like to talk about as far as the websites go are modern web design, right? It used to be in the past, I don't know, I remember when the internet became a thing. You know, I'm 35 years old. I remember when the internet became kind of modernized, where most people started to have it in their house. You would have an extra phone line just so you could run the internet and not have the internet interrupted by phone calls. I don't know if any of you guys remember those days. But nonetheless, it was kind of new. And so people didn't really know what it was going to become and what was going to happen. So the websites were very blocky. There were bright colors. There were a lot of GIFs and, you know, shiny things, and just because it was kind of a new thing, right? And then they moved on to, you know, more nice defined websites. They had the nav bars across the top. They started putting more content, different pages and things like that. Well, we have seen that pretty much most of the internet at this point in time these days is done on a mobile phone. So what does that mean? That means that the way that sites are designed are starting to change. Okay, and so I talked to a lot of agents and they want all of this content, all of these things on their website. Really, it doesn't benefit them in a lot of ways. And we'll talk a little bit about that in a second before we actually go into designing, right? Does anybody, let's talk about what do you guys think is probably the most visited website on the internet right now? Any thoughts?
Google.
Google, right. Okay. So let's go to Google real quick. I'm going to show you something here. Actually, I go right there, right off the bat. I'm using Chrome. This is Google. The most visited website in the world could be, in theory, this front page at least could be developed by a beginner programmer. The front end, at least. The back end is super complicated. But the visuals It says Google, it has a search bar. These are only here because I put them here, and this up here because I'm logged into my account. So it has my little apps up there. This is simple, this is clean, this is modern web design. This is something that could be seen on a phone. You can scroll down and you won't have any complications. Websites are not built wide anymore, they're built tall, okay? Now, there's a reason why I'm saying all this stuff. There's a reason why I'm giving you guys all this information. And, oh, I need to open up my chat here. I've got people commenting it. There we go. Yeah, when the phones would come in and kick you off the internet. Yeah, when you're downloading, you're taking like all night to download one song, and then somebody picks up the phone and interrupts the download. Yeah, it was terrible. All right, so all right, let's go back here. We're going to go to the sites, and we're going to talk about how to set up your site. When you're setting up your site, when people are looking for homes, where do they look for the most part? If you're talking about the average consumer, where is the average consumer looking for homes on the internet? Any thoughts? What do we think? Yes, absolutely. Stuart, right on the head, right? Zillow is where people are going to look for homes. Now, people aren't really searching for agents anymore. When you look at Google searches, you're not seeing people say, oh, let me find some real estate agents in my area. They go to Zillow and they find the house that they want, and there's a list of agents on the side, and they just kind of go down the list until they find the agent they want. Or maybe they've been previously working with an agent before, and they already have that on lockdown. Either way, and yes, unfortunately that is the case, but that is the case. And what that means for the real estate agent website is that what you have on the website doesn't really matter that much, okay? What matters is that you have one, right? I think it's very important that you actually have a website. There are agents still to this day who don't have websites. And for me, you know, I'm 35, you know, I'm kind of starting to get to midlife area, I guess. But even for me, if I were working with somebody, a professional person, and they did not have a website, I would really question whether I should work with that person or not, because websites have been around for a long time, and you don't have a website now, that's an easy thing to take care of, especially for a professional. So having one is good. Well, what do you need on that website? Not really that much, right? I have agents, and I'll show you how to put more things on, because there may be reasons why you want to put more stuff on your website, and I'll show you how you can do that. But if you don't want to be overwhelmed, if you don't really have time to figure all this stuff out, to find things to put on, don't worry too much about it. Keep it simple and just keep it clean and simple, just the way it is, okay? So the first thing that I would do as an agent, if I need to get my website put together, after having my marketing profile filled out, is I would come over here to configure your site. Okay, you click this button here, you say, I want to use the new KW agent site, hit submit. Okay, it's going to take you to a place where you can kind of start building out your website. You have right here, the very first thing it asks for is your subdomain. You can pick whatever you want to. Mine's dhatton.kw.com. So if you come up, I'll go to a new tab. If I go to dhatton.kw.com, then it will pull up my KW website, because that is my subdomain, the dhatton.kw.com. All right. You can confirm that domain. If you have a team, you can put your team name. You can really do whatever you want. I don't think you could do some things, like I don't think you could do like GaryKeller.kw.com. I don't think you could, you know, take some of these big ones, but you know, you could take a lot. There's a lot you can have. So confirm that domain. Now here you got your marketing profile information. It's already there, already populated for you. If something in here is wrong, you can update it here, and that's fine. Your images and all that, and then you hit save and continue. Oh, I need to claim my domain. I have to do it again, I guess. Let's just do this. There we go. Save and continue. You have an option to do the theme, which is basically what is the color of this KW. It could be red or it could be a dark theme, whatever you want there. Homepage text, that's what text is going to show here on the above the search bar, I believe. Where is it actually? Yeah, right above the search bar. It's defaulted to find your dream home. You can put whatever you want to, that's fine. The hero image is the full back image here. This is actually a kind of trendy, having one big image to fill up the whole screen. You'll find a lot of websites are designed like that right now. You can pick up to 5 images or you could have one, that's fine too. But it'll scroll through the 5 images that you have. I helped an agent do one, and so we put stuff that was particular to Kentucky on hers. So it's got horses, it's got like bourbon barrels, and it'll scroll through those images. So you can pick whatever you want to for these backdrop images. And you can put them here right off the bat, and that's fine. You can just upload a photo. You can delete photos. 5 is the max, so you can delete these photos and upload photos. One thing that I would suggest though is these hero images, they're generally not optimized very well, and that's because they're really, really big and they take up the whole width of the screen. And so if you were to look at it on a phone and it were to shrink to the size of the phone, the image would be really, really tiny in the very top of the screen. So a lot of times these hero images are not mobile responsive so much as other images on a page would be. So with that being said, if you have an image like this one, you see how it's cutting off half of this guy's shoulder? If you were to look at this on a phone, it may cut them out entirely. So if you're on a team or if you have yourself in the photos, make sure you're right smack dab in the middle and not on the sides. I actually, there was an agent who they couldn't understand why they weren't appearing in the photo, but one of the team members was. And it looked like the team member was the owner of the team when it wasn't the case. And it was for this reason. So if you were in the photo, if the focus point is important, put them right in the middle, that way it doesn't matter. And if not, you can use these generic type photo like this one here. It doesn't matter what you're looking at, it's just a bunch of houses. So use photos kind of like that where the size doesn't really matter. So we'll save and continue there. And here we've got like a company profile page. I usually just skip this. If you're an individual agent, I don't really think this is super important. We can add some stuff later and I'll show you how to do that. But if we're just gonna go simple and basic right now, don't worry too much about the company profile. I'm just gonna hit skip for now. We've got an about me page, which I think that's important. You want people to know about you. You want a place for people to see who you are and what you're about. I think that's important for when you're driving traffic to your website. So we'll keep this about me page, and notice it pulled that image. It pulled all this text basically from my marketing profile, right? And last but not least, we have contact us or contact me page. I think that's important too. We want them to be able to contact you. And even so, there are contact forms basically on every single page. So we do want to have a page for them to go to. Now I'll go over a couple of things. You're going to see these are kind of consistent on every one of these pages. You have, this is your nav bar. These are the 3 pages that we have here. You can adjust them if you want to. If you want to have maybe about me first or contact me first or whatever, you can do it there. Search engine optimization. This is really, again, unless you have some specialized service that you provide, this isn't super important because it's only important if people are searching for you specifically, right? And then it puts you at the top, right? But you're competing with some pretty big entities, and so I wouldn't put too much thought into the SEO description. Basically, it's just going to make your name be higher on the list if people search for certain key terms and phrases in a search engine like Google. The chances of you just, if you have like realtor, the chances of you being at the top of the list are slim to none. But again, if you have horse farms in Kentucky, You can put, you know, I work with horse farms in central Kentucky. If people type in horse farms in central Kentucky or looking for horse farms in Lexington or something like that, your name may be right smack at the top of the list. So it really depends on your situation. And then the content is just what's going to be in there. You can take the content, you can edit it here, and it will edit it over on the side. And save and continue. And once you've done all that, once you've gone through that, based on exactly what I've told you, you're going to have a website set up. All the information is going to be pulled from your marketing profile. You're going to have an about me page and a contact me page. And really, for a brand new agent who's just starting, who's trying to find their foothold, that's really all you need for a website. You know, I don't really think you need much more. You can have more, and we'll talk about that. But I think that's a great start for a website. Okay. Now, I've talked about a lot of things. Do you have any questions about what I've covered, or do you need any clarification on anything that I've covered so far?
Yeah, I got a question.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. With the SEO optimization area, is that sort of going to be where we would put like the keywords they're looking for, or is that where we put things about like us, kind of a deal? I guess.
Well, when I've read about SEO optimization, usually you put kind of a paragraph, but you want to have a lot of keywords in that paragraph, keywords and phrases. So this is something I'll do for everything in my entire life. I'll use either Google or YouTube, and I'll say good SEO descriptions for real estate agents. There we go. And so you can actually find examples of good SEO descriptions for real estate agents, and you can kind of customize it based on you yourself. I gotta find a good page though.
Hey, David.
Yeah, sure.
I chimed in on the chat when Michael asked this question. Ironically, our office literally just held a tech panel on SEO so that we could literally break SEO down to like layman's terms for all the agents, and then literally get into how to use that at KW to help themselves. So I put our YouTube link in there for you.
All right.
Yeah, here's that video right here. Right? There you go. So yeah, copy paste that video and watch it if you want to get into the SEO descriptions, and you want to get into search engine optimization. It can be effective in a lot of ways, but I think starting out, it's going to be a lot of effort for I don't think you will get the results that you want to unless you're intentional about what you do with search engine optimization. Okay, good question. Yeah, go ahead, Megan.
When you're uploading those pictures on your website, as opposed to just like grabbing random pictures from Google, do you have to purchase the rights to these photos when you use them on your website?
That is a great question. That is an important question, because you cannot just take images from Google, right? The chances of you getting in trouble for it are not super high, but you could, because photos are copywritten. One of the things I like to do is there's a website, pixabay.com. So Pixa, Pixabay.com. And so I'll just do like Kentucky, right? So even this is really free images and photos. So right there, that's Knob. What is that? Knob Creek. Is Knob Creek Kentucky? I did not know that. We'll just do the Kentucky state flag, right? So you look over here on the side, even with these images, even with images that you find on Pixabay, which are royalty free, you still want to look over here on the license. So free for commercial use, no attribution required. That is an image that I can use and do whatever I want to, put it on whatever I want to, and I'll be fine, right? Now, sometimes you can use the image for free, but you need to give credit to the creator of it. And that's where this would come in. If it says no attribution required, then I don't have to put the creator of it. I don't have to do anything, right? So you just have to be a little bit careful about the images that you use. I'll generally come and use this one. Best case scenario is you take your own pictures. You don't have to worry about it at all. But you can use tools like this if you want to. And you should be okay, just as long as it's free for commercial use. That means that you can use it, and even for selling a product, even on the product that you're selling, and no attribution required means that you don't have to give credit to the creator of the image itself.
Thank you. That's very helpful.
No problem. There are a lot of other websites. If you really want to, because I'm not a photographer, I don't have a nice camera. If you really want to have nice quality, because these are free for a reason, they're not the best. It means a photographer maybe took 100 pictures and took the 5 best ones and then put the rest of them here on this website to get their name out. So there are other websites you can go to, like Shutterstock, where they have really good high quality photos that you can purchase and you use for the same reason. You still need to look at that license, but you can, they're a little bit better quality images and things like that. Cool. Anything else? All right. Jump in anytime if you have anything else to say. All right. So once we have the website built out, maybe there are things that we want to add. Okay. So let's talk about how we can add things to the web pages. I'm going to go in. If you look at the top right here, there's this little blue bar. I'm on this computer that I'm on is kind of smaller, so that's why it's kind of shifted over the side there. You see that? So I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to do as a landing page instead of on my agent side. And the only reason I'm going to do this is because landing pages, I can edit them, so I can kind of go back and forth. Agent sites are a little bit different, but I'll kind of go over the difference between the two. On my agent site is going to be part of your agent website. They're going to be linked together. It's going to be in your nav bar. You can create a title for the page and it will just be there with you. And it's kind of locked in. If you want to remove a page, you have to delete the page at this point in time. You have to just delete the page and recreate it, right? In a website in general, you don't want pages on your website going up and down anyway. That's not really what a website's for. That's more like a blog, or that's more like something else. So this is kind of more fixed. Landing pages are for things, in this sense that I'm speaking, landing pages are more for things that are temporary. Like if you have an event, you can put it on a landing page, send that landing page everywhere, and then when the event is over, you can either forget about it, or you can just turn off that landing page or delete it or whatever you want to. But it's a temporary thing, and these are editable. So I'm going to go into there, and we're going to hit create a page. Now, right off the bat, there are going to be widgets on the side here. They're going to be different on a landing page versus an agent site. So actually, when I show you the widgets, I'm going to do on my agent site first because they're probably a little bit more applicable. And we've got a team widget, and you can throw that over there, and it just has a bunch of different things you can put in here. The headline, meet the team, who's on the team. You can edit. Let's see. It's fine. You can edit the people on your team, what their titles are. You can reorder those people, you know, role lead associate. Shannon's actually our MCA. She's not a lead associate, not even an agent. I'm not an agent either, but I'm a lead associate. So you can change that to, say, MCTT, and then we could do MCA, and then you could save that, put it in whatever order you want to, and that's the order it will be displayed on the page. So that would be for teams. There's a lot of widgets. The agent profile is just like I showed you before. The cool thing I like about the agent profile is this really doesn't have to be used as an agent profile at all. If I hit configure widget and then agent profile, I can change the image, I can change the page title, the role, and all this information. If you want to make more pages on your website, this is my favorite page to use. Right? You can put so let's say that you put on a mortgage calculator. You can put a little calculator image right here, put mortgage calculator right here, put nothing in the role and company. Here's a little tip, guys. If there's a required field that you don't want to put information into, but it's telling you you have to, just go to the field and then press space bar, and then you can save it. And it thinks there's something there, but there's not actually anything there. And so it'll just show up as blank. If I hit save and apply, you'll see it's just blank. Right? The bio title, it's the same thing. If I just hit the space bar, it thinks there's something there, but there's absolutely nothing there. So you can have a unified website, because that's important. Having websites that are unified, where all the pages look similar, have the same color schemes, that's important just for aesthetics really. But you can change just the image, but the text remains the same. It's all in kind of this linear pattern, which it looks great on a phone, which that's important. I think 70% of people who surf the internet surf on their phone. So that's your dominant market is the phone. So if you want to make a series of pages with just content, you can put it here and on this page. And there's more you can do in the body, and I'll show you a couple of things in a second. For more stuff here, we've got a contact form, which is great. I'm gonna have to back out and come back in. If you drag too many widgets on and pull them off and delete them, it'll lock up. So sometimes you just have to back out and go back in. Okay. Contact form, just a nice little lead capture. That's the same as the contact us page that we made before, the contact me. You can do testimonials, carousel, list, and the testimonial capture form. I'll be honest, I have set these up for agents. It could be better. There may be better ways to do this. I think an easier thing to do would be to have a testimonial page like on Facebook or Google reviews or something like that, and then just direct people to that. Because this one's a little bit more difficult to use, and anytime you update the list or the carousel, you have to delete the page and re-upload it and change it. And so it's not super intuitive right now. I believe at some time in the future, they're gonna let us edit these sites, and when that happens, this will be great. It'll be exactly what you need. They'll all be consolidated, and you can still use it, but if you're gonna be updating it regularly, you may wanna look for a different option. The company profile is just like the one that you saw that we skipped in the setup. This one's okay. I've used this in the past to create customized web pages with customized information. The thing I don't like is that it doesn't look great on a phone. The image is kind of squished together and it doesn't work out as well. So you could, if you wanted to, I'd be careful with the content that you put in. One thing about this too, we kind of talked about it, but if you want just the image to show up, you can actually just remove the text and then save and apply, and then it will just show the image, something in this. Get rid of that. And see, it just shows the image. So if you just want the image there, you can do it that way if you wanted to. Okay, so that's most of the widgets there. The landing page widgets are slightly different. We'll take a look at those. Agent branding, this is kind of like a business card, a digital business card. You could use it that way. Branded header, I really like the branded header just for unifying your landing pages, pull straight from your marketing profile. Lead capture form, this lead capture form looks a little bit different. It's gray. There's a pretty neat utilization for this, and I'll show you guys that in a second. Legal footer, some states and some areas have specific requirements for their footers of their website. So having a legal footer there, if you have those requirements, and I'm not a broker, so I don't know what those are, but you have that option to put a standardized legal footer in all of them. You can add listings to these landing pages. You just configure the widget, browse listings, throw it on there, pull straight from the MLS, so all the data is already there. Market Snap is pretty cool. It'll show you information about a particular neighborhood. And so you can go to the Market Snap and you can change the postal code and change the neighborhood. and then you can send that data, which is kind of neat. And your local expert. This is a kind of like an About Me page. It just looks slightly different. It has to download my app. This might be an alternative that you can use for certain things. It's kind of neat. It looks a little bit different. The image is a little bigger. I kind of like that one. I was like this one better than the About Me page. So you may want to use that instead of your About Me page. I can show you how you can do that if you want. There also is a testimonial capture form here. It's the same as the other one. And then last but not least, we have download my app widget. So we've got all these different widgets here. Now, I'm going to back out of this real quick, and I'm going to show you a practical utilization of these landing pages. We have a question here from Stuart. What do we put in the URL slug subdirectory? Specifically where you can unmute yourself, Stuart, but the slug you're talking about on the landing pages or on the agent site pages? Oh, okay. So really the slug is just what is at the end of a URL. So we've got here console.command.kw.com, and then you got /command. That's technically a slug, and the consumer is a slug, and that's a slug. So if we let's go back real quick. When you set up your site pages, you need to actually link them to your site through here, these agent site pages. And this is what basically where the slug is going to be. I'll show you how to do that in a second, but this is where you can create the slug. It's at the end. Now on the landing pages, let's go back to consumer real quick. So on the landing pages, you do have a slug at the end of it. So if I click on this lead form here, this is a landing page I've created. The slug is this C1S49 blah 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 blah. You can actually change that. If you click on these three dots, you can change URL, and you can actually update that URL slug. So enter custom URL. You could say 123 Main Street. So it's just what's going to be displayed at the end of it. So if I hit create, it will automatically update it. So if you look at the URL, now at the end, that slug says 123 Main Street.html instead. So let's go back to landing page here. Okay, yeah. All right, so now we're going to go into my agent site. Oh, I'm sorry, no, we're going to build a landing page real quick. I'm going to have an applicable landing page. Here we go. All right, so let's say you're doing a Facebook lead generation campaign. You want to use a landing page because you don't want to put it on your website, and then when the campaign's over, you have to pull it down, right? Then you can make a landing page for that property that you're advertising on command. So I could do branded header, put my information at the top. I could do a lead capture form, so I can capture their information later if I wanted to. And then right in between, I'll put a listing. So configure the widget, click on the listing, browse listings. I don't really have any, so I'll just pick a random one here. That looks good. There's only one image. A lot of times there's more. There probably will be more if you're trying to sell a house. Okay, and that's what it's going to look like. It's kind of cool. It pulled all that data straight from the MLS, the 3 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms that you're built, details and features, all this stuff. It's put right in there, and so you're good to go. So I can hit publish page, yes, and and it's thinking about it. And I'll go back to my landing pages, and there it is. And so I can take this URL, I can copy and paste it and put it wherever I want to. Put it on Facebook. The one thing I like about this one versus using other, so for example, if I have a listing on the Keller Williams website and I post that link on Facebook, it doesn't pull the image. But if I put this link, if I go to Facebook real quick, and I were to make a post here and use that link instead, second here, it will actually pull the image, which is kind of cool. So that has its benefits. Having that clickable image is really nice. But there are also some benefits to using the actual website listing. It has a lot more information that's linked to it. So that's for the most part with the building of the website. That's pretty much it. There's a couple other things that I'll show you if you want to add customization to your website, and I'll show you how to do that. It's kind of a little bit more advanced, so I'll go briefly over it. If you want me to go into more detail, we can absolutely do that. But I'm going to go to on my agent site here and create a page. I'll just give you a couple of tips. There's a concept in HTML, it's embedding, which means that you take something from one place and you put it into somewhere else. So maybe I take a piece of one website, I put it into my website. That's called embedding. The best way, the easiest way to embed content is using an iframe. And so this is a website, it's iframe-generator.com. And so you can use this to embed content if you wanted to. I'm not going to go too much into this, but I will show you a few different places where you can find iframes that are already created, and you can put them on your website if you wanted to. So one thing to notice that on your agent site, it doesn't have a video option. And so let's say that I want to put a video on my main website. You can absolutely do that. So I'm going to go to YouTube. I already have a video that I pre-pulled up. And I'm going to show you how you can get a YouTube video onto your command website. So if I hit this share button here, right at the very front is the embed option. So if I click that, it has a pre-created iframe right there that you can use to embed it onto your website. Okay, so I just hit the copy button and I can come back over here and there's a way that you can get it into here, right? Now, command websites, they need to have at least one of these widgets being utilized before you can publish the website. So I'm going to pull over just to download my app first. And then I'm going to come down here to content blocks and I'm going to pull over a text box here. And then I'm going to take this iframe here and I'm going to paste it right there. Now, a couple of things to know about iframes, especially these pre-created ones. Pay attention to width and height. Because that's going to determine how big the size of the video is. This is 560 pixels wide and 315 pixels tall. That could be good or it could be bad. It depends on how big your screen is. If you have a big, gigantic curved monitor, that video is going to be super tiny, right? If you're on a mobile phone, that might be perfect. So one way that you can get around it is instead of using pixels, or a straight number for the width, use percentages. So you can actually just edit this. And I could say maybe 75% instead of 600 pixels or whatever, okay? Oh, and the widgets, they aren't clickable. You actually click and drag and drop them over. I didn't specify that, but yeah, just clicking on them won't pull them over. You actually have to click and drag and drop them over. So, all right, so I have that iframe in there. Now there's one more problem with iframes. I'm actually going to adjust the height as well to 600 because 300 is kind of small. There's another thing about iframes in coding in general, HTML coding in general, is that everything in HTML coding naturally wants to go to the left side of the screen. So if I were to publish this right now, right? So if I were to save the changes, we're going to go look at this website and new agent, just do blah 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 and blah blah blah, and blah, blah, blah. Okay, save. Back to my agent side pages. If I were to come here and look at this page, you'll see that the video, once it decides to load, maybe, okay, see that's kind of stuck to the side, to the left side of the screen. Now there is a way that we can get around this, okay? I'm just gonna go ahead and delete that, and we're gonna go in and I'm gonna do it on the landing page just so I don't have to go through all this to do it. Goodness gracious, let's just do it. I'm gonna do the same thing, pull over, just whatever, just agent branding, content blocks, we'll go to text, paste that text in again, I'll change it from 560 to 75%. And then the height, I'm actually gonna do taller, I'm gonna do 800 pixels. So if I go to the very beginning of this iframe, and I just put like an open bracket and then center, and then a closed bracket, that will actually center whatever is beneath it. You can do a closing tag too if you wanted to. That's actual proper HTML, but I think you only really need the front one. And so, so we gotta configure this widget here. Jeez, I would have to do all this work here. There we go. Publish page. Let's see if this will actually work for me. There we go. So you have it, the video, it's nice and tall, it's nice and wide. The coolest thing too with percentages is it doesn't matter what device you're on, if you're on a computer or if you're on a phone, it will actually shrink to fit the size of the screen. So if you see, that video has shrunk down to fit the width of my my screen here, and it will play the video as is.
Good morning, Keller Williams, and welcome back to the KW Command.
And so that's useful on a phone. If you want to make it to where it doesn't matter what device you're using, it will still show the entire width of the different thing. So, okay, now I'm going to show you just a couple more, and I'm going to go through the actual whole creation of the page, just so you know, because there's two parts to it, right? And I'm going to show you one more trick that I learned a long time ago, right? So I'm going to pull this download my app widget right there. And I'm actually going to come over to the side here to see these three lines right here. I don't really like using these widgets sometimes. And sometimes I want to put only my own content. I don't want to put any other KW content on there just for that page. So if you come over to these three lines here and you click on the three lines and then do a drop down of the body, there's that download my app widget. If you click on the little eyeball there, it just makes it go away and it pretends as if it's not there. And so you can put whatever else you want to in there and you can save it and it just acts as if that download my app widget is not even there. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pull over my text block. We're going to use this Google form. So Google form is something else that you can use to embed onto a page. So I'm going to hit send, then you can hit the code right there. There's your iframe, it has your width, it has your height, and copy that. I'll put in my center. I think that's all of it, yeah. And then I'll paste that code, and then we'll do test 45, sure. And then we'll save that, okay? Now, that's the first part. You've created the main page. We need to create we need to actually link it to your subdomain, right? So I'm going to hit add page, and you can see right at the top, there's the page that I just created, test 45. I'll click on that, and I'll hit continue. And then you have here the page title. So this is what's going to be displayed on the website. So if I go to my website and I click in this drop-down menu here, that's the title. So about David, or download my app, or whatever. So the page title, that's what it's going to say, whatever you put here. So I could say form. Okay. The URL slug is what's going to be at the end of the page. So if I go to about David, the slug is about David. Right? So I could put here, same thing if I wanted to, form. And then the SEO description is whatever you want to put there. I'll just put it form. Keep it simple. You hit save, and that will link it to your website, it will link it to your subdomain, and you'll be able to publish that, no problems. And there it is. So I can actually go to my agent site pages, and there it is, test 45. So click on the eyeball, and it'll be there. Load up. There we go. And so there's the Google form. So I could have made it a little taller, I think, and maybe a little wider, but that's the gist of it. So that's, I mean, agent site pages with that iframe embedding, with this iframe generator, you can put whatever website you want here, and in theory, you could embed it onto your KW website. So if you really wanted to get detailed and creative, you can absolutely do that. I'll give you an example of that. Let's see. So I helped the Prather team set up their website. And so if we go to, 8 steps to buying a home, for example, looks like it's down. Not a good example. All right, let's go back to Kim Nelson. Oh, I think she has one too. Let's see. We'll do testimonials, for example. Okay. So here's your testimonials page. There's testimonials at the top. There's all this content here. I just created a website and I embedded the website onto this website. And so, so you can do a lot of stuff with these iframes, and they're pretty neat. So any questions on what we've covered so far?
Yeah, I guess I'm having a little trouble understanding kind of the concept of where we would want to use a landing page versus using just a normal page.
Gotcha. So I'll give you an example here. If you're doing an event, there's a team here in our market center who was doing an event for Christmas, and they were doing this kind of like the 12 days of Christmas type thing, but they were giving away prizes, right? And so to create the content and put it on a website and then to take it down and to put it on the website and to take it down, it can take a lot of work, right? So what you can do is you can create a landing page to have all the information for the contest, all the prizes, and then you can update that regularly, right? You can send that to whoever you want to. And then when the contest is over, you just turn it off and you're done. It's for short little things that you're doing that are temporary. You just want to throw something out there and pull it back. But you don't necessarily want to take the time and effort to link it to your website. Any other questions? Okay. And it's hard because there's so much that we can cover and there's so much that you can do. I want to try and keep it simple. But you can do a lot with these sites. So all right, so we need to talk about the app too. Now, one thing about the consumer app, the KW home search app, is that it is the same. It's linked directly to command and your website. So this is mine is dhatton.kw.com. I actually have signed in. If you look at Kim's website, I can sign up here. And if I sign up, my top bar is going to look like this instead, right? You have feed, you have guide. So this is, I don't have one since I'm not an agent, but this would be your guide builder, the buyers and sellers guide. Saved would be saved searches that I've made on the website. So this is linked, and it's actually the same login information as the website. So if you create an account, if your clients create an account on your website, they'll use that same login for the phone app and it will work, and vice versa. If they create an account on the phone app, they can actually use the same login for the website and it should work. The websites themselves and the mobile app are actually very powerful. This search feature is fantastic. If I just do, let's do Firebrook, which is a neighborhood in here in Lexington where I live. You've got this hyper-local neighborhood data. I can actually send this URL to a client, and it'll just always pull the current data for Firebrook as far as houses go. I can even do a further search. I can do more, and I can say, well, what houses has the price reduced in the last 7 days? Toggle that on, and then it'll only display that. And that link you can send to your clients, and so they can have updated information. You can put that on a marketing campaign. You can put that on a social media campaign that you make. That URL there, and it'll send them that data. You can send them just the neighborhood data by clicking Explore the Neighborhood. And it will give them all kinds of information, right? So here there's Firebrook, there's some houses there, what locals say, walkability, they can do driving, how far they are from certain locations, nearby schools, all this stuff, right? Yelp reviews of different restaurants and stores nearby, homes for sale, nearby neighborhoods, all of this. You can take this link, copy and paste it, and you can use it for whatever you want to, and it's going to constantly be updated. It's going to be constantly live current data, which is pretty cool. So every time I send this to a person, every time they open that link, it will be current data. It will update to have current data. Now, on the mobile app, the benefits of the mobile app is that when your clients use the mobile app and use your link to sign up for that mobile app, they're linked to you. And so if I go into the KW app, and it's, I'm going to actually stop the share so that I can give you a better view of what it looks like here. So in the bottom right here, there's a more option. In the bottom right, I guess for you guys, it's the bottom left. You can actually link an agent to you that way, or if you click on a link, each agent has their own personal app link. If you use that link to download it, that agent will be you. And the benefit to that is that every house that your client looks at, every house they favorite, all of that is going to be updated in commands on their user contact card. And so you're going to get live data from them. They can ask you questions. They can schedule virtual or live tours of homes through the home search app. You can do all kinds of stuff. And I apologize, I got to gloss over a lot of this because I've run out of time. We're almost at the end, but using the app and the website, it's actually a very powerful combination. And the amount of things you could put on the website are not as diverse as if you paid a developer or if you use Wix or Squarespace, but the home search features in combination with the home search app and command are actually very powerful, and it's at no additional cost to you as an agent. So I think it's a really good tool to use, and I help agents use it on a regular basis. And that's basically, I think, all I can get into without running way over. I can talk about this stuff forever. There's a lot of content. Feel free to reach out to me anytime. I'll put my my email address here in the let's see, kw.com. I'll put my email address here in the chat. But yeah, feel free to reach out to me. There's a question here. When we create a landing page, what do we change the URL to for that page, it's whatever you want to. Most people don't even notice what the URL says. So if you wanted to do it just so you can at a glance see what that page is, I would put that, that URL slug to something that's recognizable. If you're doing a Christmas raffle, maybe make the URL slug Christmas raffle. If you're doing a landing page for a listing, maybe put the address as the URL slug. The only stipulation is I don't think you can put spaces, so just keep that in mind. Just make it all one word all together, because that's how it looks on the web address. So yeah. Any other questions before we get off here? No problem. Again, reach out to me anytime. I work a lot with this particular thing. I really like the website aspects and these connections and things. So feel free at any time to reach out to me if you need anything or you have any particular questions or comments. And I'd be more than happy to help you out with it. So, all right. Thanks for coming to my class. I apologize if I was all over the place, but it's a lot of content. I was having a hard time thinking of what to cover. So hopefully you learned something, and I'll see you guys some other time.